All right, we are go for launch.
Good evening and welcome to the May 20th, 2026 meeting of the Henrietta Town Board. I'd like to call the meeting to order. Please call the roll.
Councilmember Barley,
Here.
Councilmember Stafford,
Here.
Councilmember Safranek,
Here.
Councilmember Owens,
Here.
Supervisor Schultz.
Here. We'll begin the meeting with a silent prayer followed by the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Can I get a motion to approve the minutes?
Mr. Supervisor, I make a motion to approve the minutes from the preceding meeting, April 29th, 2026.
Oh, okay, Millie. I'd just like to make a note. Mike had spotted something in the minutes. I haven't had a chance to look through as to how it was identified, but I repeated what somebody in the audience had said.
Let's look like a.
Yeah, no, I mean, I remember doing it. Okay. There was somebody in the audience who responded to a question and they weren't at a mic. And so I just repeated what they said. I was identified as the speaker. I don't know if there was any attribution that I was repeating what the speaker said. So Becky, afterwards, I'll come and find that just to make sure it's properly identified that I was giving or repeating the answer from the one of the people in the audience. Yeah. Yep. Any other comments on the minutes?
No.
Then hearing and seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Barley,
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford,
Aye.
Councilmember Safranek,
Aye.
Councilmember Owens,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye. First up, we have a public presentation for the Henrietta Historic Site Committee Centennial Heritage Farm Award.
Good evening. I'm Tina Thompson, and on behalf of the Historic Site Committee, I am very pleased to present the 2026 Centennial Heritage Farm Award to the Miller family. This award is given to a family that has been farming the same land for at least 100 years. This property has been a farm for over 200 years, and for 124 of those years, the Miller family has been doing that farming. The property was purchased in 1822 by William Henry Gorton, the son of Reverend Thomas Gorton, pastor of the West Henrietta Baptist Church. William Gorton built the cobblestone house probably between 1826 and 1828. Daniel and Lucinda Fenner purchased the property of 62 acres in 1868 for $5,500. You can see the property on the 1902 map located at the corner of West Henrietta Road and Bragg Street. Bragg Street is now Brooks Road. Ludwig and Caroline Krenzer Miller purchased the property in 1902. By 1915, Ludwig had begun constructing a garage and other outbuildings on his property. His son, George Albert Miller, built the barn. Chestnut trees from Victor were brought to the property and milled for the rafters, and interior walls were made from the wood of old boxcars from the Lehigh Valley Railroad. Early recycling. During the early 1900s, the farm included pigs, chickens, horses, and dairy cattle. In the 1920s, George delivered milk to the West Henrietta hamlet before he went to school in the morning. Hay and oats were raised for the animals. Sweet corn, tomatoes, potatoes, and apples were some of the crops raised for a farm stand. George Albert's daughter, Anne Marie, told me in an interview that during World War II, her father farmed during the day, and at night, he worked at the Symington Gould Company, helping to build armaments for ships and tanks. He also delivered excess produce, vegetables, and eggs to families in the South Wedge area of Rochester. After the war, he expanded the dairy, and in 1954, the barn was remodeled to house 24 cows. A milk house was also built with bulk tanks that held the milk, and that milk was picked up every other day and transported into the city for pasteurization. George was an early member of the Genesee Milk Cooperative, which became Upstate Farms. His son, George Robert Miller, continued milking until 2004. The original farm has been reduced in size by eminent domain. Land was used by the Thruway Authority and is still being used by the telephone company. And the widening of West Henrietta Road also made a mark on the property. There are still a few apple trees that are close to 100 years old. Crops today include soybeans and, of course, still vegetables for the farm stand. Today, George R., his son Marty, and Marty's son Christian are farming the land. We are very grateful that they are continuing a family tradition, and we deeply appreciate the dedication and hard work that is needed to maintain a farm. Congratulations, and Marty is here tonight.
Honored to have this award. Our family's been in the area for a long time, and I'm pretty sure everybody knows exactly where the cobblestone is, and the Gray Barn is kind of a landmark to navigate by. So, just thank you very much for this honor.
You're welcome.
We do have a certificate. I just want to add a few comments. I drive by it, of course, multiple times a day since I live on Braggins or Brooks Road. You know, it's always great. In fact, I was turning around the corner and I was like, oh no, there's a large farm vehicle that I'm gonna have to follow. But of course it went to the very first field and turned off. So, you know, so I saw you guys out there, look like tilling maybe. Yeah. So, you know, it's great to keep the agricultural heritage of our town intact. And, you know, I love living on a road like Brooks Road where there are multiple active farms in the area, but then also being, you know, 5 minutes from town hall, the Jefferson Road shopping area. It's awesome. I think it's one of the great features of our town. So thank you for helping preserve that.
Thank you.
Congratulations, and we have corn this year?
Yes.
I'll be by. Good. That's useful. Great corn.
Thank you.
Congratulations, you and your family.
Thanks for all your hard work there.
Yeah.
Yeah, Rob said what I was going to say. I'm like, it's the best corn in town. But I appreciate the hard work that you and your family put into keeping the farm running and maintaining this fantastic feature for our town.
Thank you.
Thank you. I look forward to trying some of that corn. It's so great to hear all about these things about Henrietta and how long you guys have been farming. Congratulations and continued success.
Thank you.
And I think it's awesome that multiple generations are taking place because there's a lot of family businesses where that is not happening. Right? There's no longer Dorsal Automotive because the next generation did not want to take over.
My son will be the 5th generation.
Wow. Lehigh Family Diner, another example. So it's great that we've got another generation taking over. So Let's get up there and get a picture presenting. And shoes. All that stuff. Hold on, we get ready. All right. Next up, we have a special use permit application number 2026-006 Emerald Events, 2199 East Henrietta Road, to modify the previously approved special use permit to now allow outdoor seating with loud entertainment. Application number 2025-019 to operate an event space and banquet hall with dine-in services, bands, DJs, or similar loud entertainment, and to serve alcohol. So that was the previous application. Are the applicants here or perhaps online?
I'm online.
All right.
Hi.
Hello. So we had them come in. We went over a bunch of the stuff that was discussed at the last hearing. This is a continuation special use permit. So some of the stuff that they are specifically addressing is that, there were concerns about the impact if there was an event going on inside and outside, but they made it clear they would only operate inside or outside at any one time. And I don't want to say it's an exception, we just noted that if they have an outdoor event and the weather turns inclement and they need to move it indoor, that's okay, as long as everybody from outside's moved and they can't have it half in and half out. To address the issue of people going back and forth, they were going to have a mini bar that would have the food and drinks, and then they would have a trailer that has restroom facilities, so that again, we don't have people walking back and forth between, since the outdoor event space, unfortunately, with where the suite that they have doesn't have any outdoor space adjacent. So they would have to be walking past all these other businesses, as well as potentially crossing traffic areas. So they addressed that. I don't remember, seem to think there was one other.
They are gonna, I didn't see it in the resolution. Are they gonna pave the unpaved or the uneven asphalt? Was that?
That was mentioned at
That was
workshop.
part.
Something
Yeah,
about that.
Steve mentioned to me.
Yeah, so
Make sure it
we
was in
did
there.
talk to them about that the concrete portion looked good, the pavement did not. I don't know that we made it a condition of the approval, but they had said that they were going to do that. Let me go into and I'll just ask the applicant to confirm that. We're talking about inside the fenced area, the asphalt is pretty broken up.
Are you there?
Applicant?
Is she still on?
Hello.
Hello,
See, we can
we
hear
can hear
Okay.
you now.
Okay, so I said yes, my husband's friend, that's the type of work that he does. So he's gonna go over there and look at it and give him a quote on what he would charge him to fix it.
Yeah. Oh, and the other thing we talked about is because of the proximity of the homes, that there was not going to be loud outdoor entertainment, was going to be more quieter, more background music or, but not like a band or a DJ or stuff like that.
Not,
That's
not like
allowed.
where you can hear, we're gonna have music where you can hear like down the road or something. That's not what our intentions are.
Right. You can have the loud entertainment in the indoor facility, just not the outdoor facility. And then they also said
Yeah.
that events in the outdoor space will begin no sooner than 12 noon and will end no later than 9 p.m.
Correct.
The portable bathrooms, are they gonna be removed after each event, or are the portable bathrooms staying there for,
So we have reached out to two companies. One, we will be renting them weekly. She gave us a quote, or we can rent them monthly. So we haven't decided, me and Isaac, what exactly. It depends on the event, because like we're not gonna be using that space a lot, like all the time. It's just as needed. So it's not gonna be like a weekly thing.
Do you have an issue with that trailer being there?
I just don't wanna have portable bathrooms around town.
Well, again, this is,
It's on
yeah.
the,
Well, it's inside.
Yeah,
It's
I
in
know
the
what
inside, so no one will
Yeah.
see it because it's fenced.
Okay.
right, and they're
they're
really
much-
high quality.
Yes, they're much
No,
nicer. You're not talking about.
Not a porta potty.
I know, I've seen
Yeah.
enough events.
Yeah.
So there'll be
I
no
don't have-
DJs outside, right?
That is correct. It says that.
No.
Okay.
So no DJs outside.
Correct.
Okay.
Now, again, could there be somebody putting music on? Yes, but not like a DJ event where we're having people the loud,
Okay.
trying to get everybody out to dance and get on the dance floor and et cetera and so forth. Again, quieter, yes, but not. I guess it depends how you define a DJ. I think of
More
that,
of a
like I
like
said, as
sorry. We was doing
Yeah,
more
I
of
was
like
just
an
gonna say, I think
intimate
of the
setting outside.
that, yes, correct. That's what it says. That is how it's worded, so. And then,
So-
it makes clear that if these, it makes clear that if, there are significant or repeated violations of these conditions, the town board may revoke the special use permit, at which point the outdoor space would no longer be able to be used. And the special use permit would revert to what was approved as part of the original special use permit application 2025-19. So,
Okay,
And
Mr.
then-
Schultz, I have a question.
yep. Yep.
All right, so far as a DJ being outside, so if someone's having a wedding reception, they can't have a person out there playing music?
They can have a person playing music. What we're talking about with the DJ is if you're at a club and you've got the DJ, this is what I'm saying, it depends how you define a DJ. The person spinning music and taking requests for what's on for a wedding reception, that's fine if they're playing the music quietly. What I'm talking about, a DJ event, is, where you have a DJ, he's talking a lot, he's
Okay.
doing
Mixing and all
Like
that.
a-
I got you.
like a DJ at a club that's doing, that it's similar to a band, right?
Correct.
You understand what I'm saying? Yeah. But if it's the quieter for a wedding reception, that's okay, as long as, again, they're not gonna
Disturb the neighbors.
get everybody out yelling that it's gonna disturb the neighborhood, right?
Do you
I
want to read
understand.
that particular bullet point there?
Yeah, so what it says is the applicant or future operators must limit events in the outdoor space such as they begin no sooner than 12 noon and end no later than 9 p.m. In addition, the applicant or future operators must limit outdoor music to quieter background music. And any event that wishes louder music or entertainment would need to be located in the indoor event space and not the outdoor event space. So again, if they want to just have quieter music, maybe quieter dancing music, and I'm talking volume, I don't care what style of music it is.
Okay.
But that's okay in the outdoor space, but if they're gonna have raucous line dancing, to make something up, that would have to be on the indoor space.
Okay,
Got it?
got it.
Any other questions? Any comments from the public?
Okay, how many of the neighbors, residents around there were notified or not?
We sent to all the residents that were nearby. I don't know the hard number. Chris, do you know the number by any chance?
It's
No.
750 feet.
Oh, yeah, no, I know the distance. I didn't know how many homes that hit.
Yeah, this is Chris Martin. I don't have that information in front of me, but I'm sure we have in the printout how much they were.
It says 180.
Okay.
Thank you, Becky. So 180 homes.
I'm just concerned, with, after this one, we'll get more of these popping up in the air in town, and I'm kind of leery.
I think it seems like a good niche area, and to be honest, I can't imagine that quiet music is gonna be any louder than the vacuum cleaners at the car wash.
Yeah,
Hence why I voted against the car wash.
Well,
In
you're
the car
welcome
wash.
against it. It's up to you.
yeah. So I'm not a believer in the slippery slope argument. If this is already an allowed use with, that's the whole point of putting conditions on that SUP.
And I think having a neighborhood gathering space in that particular area is something that would improve the plaza.
Yeah, I agree. Any other questions, comments? Anything from the public or online? All right, then hearing and seeing none, I am going to close the public hearing for special use permit application number 2026-005 Emerald Events.
Thank you.
Wait a second.
Hold on.
But yet,
Fellow board members, I have resolution 10-191, 2026 to approve with conditions, special use permit application number 2026-006 for an outdoor seating area with alcohol for Emerald Events at 2199 East Henrietta Road.
Second.
And again, as I usually do in these, I will read the conditions. 1, the applicant or future operators must keep the indoor and outdoor events exclusive, meaning if there is an indoor event, the outdoor event space will not be used, or conversely, if there is an outdoor event, the indoor event space will not be used. Note that in the event of inclement weather, an outdoor space can shift indoors as long as the entire event shifts indoors and the outdoor space is then closed down for the remainder of the event. Number 2, the applicant or future operators must provide a portable bar to serve customers at outdoor events, as well as portable restrooms for use by customers at outdoor events. Number 3, the applicant or future operators must limit events in the outdoor space such that they begin no sooner than 12 noon and end no later than 9 p.m. In addition, the applicant or future operators must limit outdoor music to quieter background music. Any event that wishes louder music or entertainment would need to be located in the indoor event space and not the outdoor event space. All right. Any other questions or comments? Yeah. Then, hearing and seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Barley,
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford,
No.
Councilmember Safranek,
aye.
Councilmember Owens,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye. Next up, we have special use permit application number 2026-007, Hertz Car Rental, 2199 East Henrietta Road to operate a car rental facility. So as mentioned in the last public hearing, we have a problem with circular reference in our code. But if you read and interpret it, one is a dependent clause, the other is the independent clause. The independent clause says any use not enumerated herein is prohibited. Therefore, to me, this use is prohibited in this section. of the commercial B1 zone. I will note that we do have car rental facilities on Dealership Row. But that portion of the B1 district has a special use that's only for that area. That includes car dealerships, large, car lots and other stuff where there are a large number of cars. In talking with both Hertz Car Rental and the plaza owners, we determined the best way around the impasse was through incentive zoning. And that this area, used to be known Suburban Plaza, was the second oldest retail shopping area in Henrietta. These developers have been doing a good job working to revitalize the plaza, and that is one of the things our incentive zoning tries to encourage. And so we agreed they're going to put in an incentive zoning application. So we're going to keep this public hearing open for the SUP. And then we will be adding to it an incentive zoning where they are going to, in addition to the community benefit of the revitalization of the plaza, they are going to make improvements to the trail that connects the plaza to the parking lot to the west. They'll clean up the trail so that it can be multimodal for both pedestrians and cyclists. And then right now where it comes in is where the dumpsters are located. They're either going to change the location where it comes in or move the dumpsters so that that's no longer the case. And then working with our town crews, we're going to take a look at what makes the most sense for that. It'll be done essentially as part of a site plan, an administrative site plan review, but probably looking at some lighting back there so that if somebody's coming through at night, because they do have to cross a roadway, so they would stripe it and light it. But the final details of that will be done through an administrative site plan. But they are offering that as an incentive zoning. The other thing we talked about to overcome some of the potential adverse impacts on the fellow properties that they already had, I believe it was 10 designated parking spaces. If they have more cars than can fit in those parking spaces, they would park them to the south and to the west of the car wash in areas that are not prime parking spaces for any of the other businesses. One of the things when that car wash came in, it reduced the number of prime parking spaces in front of that north building. So we don't want them to take that away from potential customers, whether they're customers or other businesses' customers. And so they would, again, if there's any more than 10, they would move them. In addition, I asked them to, as we're working with them to clarify the language, one of the things that we also have in there is that if a customer returns a car and parks in one of those non-designated or overflow parking spaces, that they would in a timely manner move that car. Now, typically they probably take it to the car wash first and then go park it. But that way it minimizes that impact. And then the other thing too is in terms of, we're going to have to resolve that reference, but it doesn't open up a precedence for someone else to say, hey, you allowed that in commercial B1 over here. Why can't you allow it over here? This is part of that incentive zoning, and it's an older plaza that we're looking to see revitalized. So you look like you have a question, Mike.
No, not quite. Just a couple comments. Going through that parking lot to review the last applicant. I think it's a great idea to move those garbage dumpsters from the path area and clean that up back there. I think that's a great idea. Next question. I want to know customers' cars. At these type of rental car locations, a lot of times customers will pick up or drop off leave their car parked there and get a rental car. And I can tell you right now, my vehicle is parked at a rental car place in their lot, just coming home from business trip. But anyways, they I want to know how many cars are going to be,
So,
average, how many they expect to be in the parking lot that are customer vehicles, and how would you move them if they parked in the wrong area?
that's a good point. As one who only uses car rentals on, when I fly to a location, I don't have that issue.
And
I'm always arriving by shuttle. So we'll discuss that as far as making sure that those customers are not parked in any of those prime locations. So maybe that's one of their 10 or one of the overflow. We'll have some discussion. Is anyone from Hertz here?
I'm on, yes.
Do you have any thoughts on that? I don't know how many you typically get.
Yeah, I mean, generally in particular, like it's not, customer parking is not something we generally promote or allow. In fact, you know, it just as, from a liability standpoint, it's not a service that we offer. Obviously, in a public lot, you know, it's up to them, but it'd be more of a parking at their own risk. But it would be something that we would discourage. I think, you know, if it was a dire situation where it needed to happen for a little bit, we would, like, as you said, we would direct them to the overflow lot for their personal cars. But generally, we don't allow people to leave their cars
Well,
there if they.
here's my suggestion so that we don't have, you're not potentially opening yourselves up from a liability standpoint, by specifically saying, addressing about that parking. Maybe what we'll do is we'll have the plaza owner does put signage up in those prime parking areas that says no overnight parking, something like that, or no, you know.
Oh, that'd be
uh,
perfect.
Yeah, that way they're not actually there having to say you can park over here, because as soon as they say you can park over here, they've now
open
opened themselves up with some liability. If we basically say there's no overnight parking here, I think a customer can figure out that they can't leave their car there overnight, so.
Yeah.
And the last thing I got is, you know, the last one we did, or the last rental car place we did over on Jefferson Road, that was because it was partially in an industrial zone too.
It was entirely in industrial.
Okay, I thought it was part. Okay.
That whole area was in industrial, but
Right.
I think half of the plaza is split, but that part of the plaza was industrial. Yeah.
Okay. So, and that's why.
Yep.
They got it in this plaza. It's not
Correct.
industrial.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Any other questions on that one? So again, we're gonna, I've reached out to the plaza owners to submit their incentive zoning application. We should have that soon, and we will be advertising. We're gonna keep this public hearing open for the special use permit, but we will be adding a hearing for the incentive zoning at the next meeting. So any other questions or comments on this hearing? Otherwise, I'm gonna close this session of the hearing, but keep the hearing itself open.
So the owners of this plaza, they're new within last couple of years or something?
Yeah, I don't remember exactly when they came in, but they're more recent, yeah.
Okay.
And they've been doing a lot of work to improve the plaza. And including when we reached out to them about the access road, they weren't aware that they had responsibility because it wasn't their parcel, but there was apparently a long ago agreement. So as soon as it was brought to their attention, they fixed it as soon as the asphalt plant's open. So
Great.
they've been very responsive, and you know, again, we like to see that. If you look at the plazas that are doing well in town, it's the plazas that the owners are investing in and taking care of.
Mhm.
The plazas that are struggling, there isn't the investment there. So,
Steve, just so, you know, on the site plan here, they have exhibit A that shows the parking lot.
Yeah.
That doesn't show Ruby Car Wash on here.
yeah, so that's probably from their old, that's probably what was included when they purchased because I'm pretty sure they were the ones who brought in Ruby. I'm not positive.
Okay.
So, but what we'll do is we'll make sure that they get a more up-to-date map.
There is a second site plan that includes Ruby.
Right, I see that, but
Yeah, I thought I saw
it
that.
doesn't, it certainly looks, the two are
Yeah.
different.
Any other questions? And hearing seeing none, I'm going to close this session of the special use permit, the public hearing for special use permit application number 2026-007 for its car rental, but we'll keep it open for the next meeting, which I believe is June 11th. Next up, we have special use permit application number 2026-008, Marketplace Mixed Use Modification, 3400 West Henrietta Road, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 1100, 1200, and 1220 Miracle Mile Drive, and future 1400 Miracle Mile Drive to allow a mixed-use development on parcels including industrial, medical, office, commercial, residential, and civic space school components. Peter.
Yes, good evening. My name is Peter Bars from BME Associates. I just have two things this evening to update you on since our last appearance. First of all, one thing as it relates on our review of the draft resolutions is we would just like to acknowledge for the record as it relates to the draft seeker determination, it talks about the fact that the town board considers information submitted by the applicant, including correspondence and other information, and considering all documents. And we just wanted to acknowledge that this board should have received a letter dated May 19th, 2026 from the law firm Harris Beach Murtha, submitted on behalf of Wilmerite, acknowledging that Wilmerite is agreeing to donate 8.27 acres of property in the southwest corner of the property to the town for the purpose of a potential public park. And the point being is we just wanted that to be acknowledged within the seeker component, that's inclusive in that as it relates to the hard look this board does need to take as it relates to weighing all of the impacts, but also all the mitigation.
I will note that we did update the seeker. In fact, there's now a whereas clause. One of the things we talked about is that when we put the bridges over the creek, they have to be done in such a manner so as to not impede the flow of the creek.
Good, thank you. And then the second thing I have, and I offer this statement on behalf of the University of Rochester. The university actually is respectfully requesting that the town board table the application for special use permit application 2026-008, which is for the marketplace mixed use modification. They wish to table this application until such time that the university can understand the terms and the conditions of the community benefit agreement that is called out within that resolution. Or identified in the draft resolution. The university's goal is to table this so that it allows them time to meet promptly with the town to come to terms which would sustain this project and allow it to move forward so that it can serve the community and the desired designated population of the clinics in the IDD space. So their goal would be that they could meet with the town, come to terms and conditions on the community benefit agreement so that they do understand what the requirements of the town of Henrietta are, with the goal that we could come back then and have this done in time for the June 11th meeting. So we do offer that request for the board.
Let me ask this, has the applicant, because they are not the applicants for 008, did the applicants Wilmerite request that?
This statement's on behalf of the university.
Okay.
And that's primarily because the university is also named in that resolution as being a potential participant in the community benefit agreement.
I understood. My point being, without hearing that from the applicant, I mean, we can consider tabling it, but my point is it's not an official request from the applicant to table it. It's a request from, we'll call it an involved party.
I was going to say an interested party is requesting that.
Yep. Okay. I just want to make sure we're clear on that.
Okay.
Were they also asking obviously if 008 was tabled, then 10 is tabled, but if 08 is passed, would they want us to table 10, which is the SUP specifically for the medical clinic?
I'm gonna defer that.
Okay, we've got time.
Yes, we'll discuss that when that resolution.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. So a couple things I will note. I did receive a letter from the attorney for U of R, and there were a couple things misstated in it. One of the things that was stated was that we were requiring payment in lieu of taxes as part of the special use permit. That is not, in fact, true. In fact, the community benefit agreement is not actually part of the special use permit. Just to be clear, there are two things being issued here. One is a special use permit to establish the parameters of the mixed use revitalization area under Town Code Section 295-34.7. The other is an incentive zoning approval to allow the complementary use of a private nonprofit school as civic use. When we put in both mixed use and incentive zoning into the code, we had some interplay between them, and the complementary uses incentive for revitalization was part of that. We added an S+ designation for those uses that could be considered complementary uses and schools. That includes schools. For the use percentages in paragraph C of section 295-34.4, paragraph C4, it says adjustments to percentages. As part of its special use permit process and upon review and an advisory opinion by the planning board, the town board shall have the ability to increase or decrease the minimum and maximum percentage requirements stated in this section. In making such a consideration, the town board shall, one, consider the extent to which any such adjustments will comply with the intent and purpose of this article, and two, consider the impact of such adjustments via the special use permit factors set forth in Chapter 295, Article 12, special use permits. However, in no event shall either of the second and the third largest component categories each comprise less than 5% of the mixed uses. So when we looked at that in the past, we looked at that small changes we felt did comply with the intent and purpose of the article. For very significant changes, we felt it did not, unless it was done in conjunction with the aforementioned interplay of the incentive zoning and the special use permits. So in order to accommodate the significant changes in the percentage of use, especially retail, going from what was essentially 100% at one point, in the mixed use, it's, I believe, 30 to 65 is the normal range. If all the expansions are take place, it would be down to 10% in a retail revitalization zone. So that's a bit extreme. However, we feel when you combine that with the incentive zoning for revitalizing retail space, it does kind of play. So the idea there being, without the incentive zoning, we can do minor changes, but to do the significant changes being asked here, that should be done as part of the incentive zoning. It is under the rules of incentive zoning in section 295-34.13, paragraph F says approval incentive zoning application shall be a prerequisite to any approval, including preliminary or other associated applications, including, for example, site plan approval, special use permit approval, and subdivision approval. So obviously that one has to be done first. So in that incentive zoning, we are considering essentially two things. One is the complementary use for the school, and the second thing is for the significant override of the allowable parameters. The CBA, the Community Benefits Agreement, is part of the incentive zoning approval. However, since we do not wish to hold up all the projects while the agreement gets notified, what we did is we made it clear it is for the significant alteration of mixed use parameters, and that the incentive zoning approval is based on negotiating the CBA. And if that doesn't happen, that incentive is essentially repealed. And as such, the parameters of the mixed use SUP are diminished. But the SUP itself is not conditioned upon the CBA. Either way, the SUP occurs, The question is whether it includes the benefits of the second portion of the incentive zoning or not. The first portion, as I mentioned, of the incentive zoning is allowing the school as a complementary use for which we are receiving the benefit of the new parkland to supplement the civic space. Because as you remember, a number of town board members brought that up, that they felt that this was a bit of a change in the concept of the civic space. So by adding that park, that keeps the public civic space while also adding the great benefit of the Mary Carriola Children's Center. And then again, both of them are part of that benefit of the reuse of vacant retail. So neither is subsequent SUPs for the school or the medical center are conditioned upon the CBA either. They can have that use there, whether the expanded space or not. It's really only the percentages that are changed. And thus the amount, and the one that is, to be honest, is way out of whack is the great increase in the medical center space and the great decrease in the retail space. And if the taking over of some of those additional buildings are what drive that. So again, we're not nowhere in the discussion of the CBA does it say that we're talking payments in lieu of taxes. That is certainly one of the options, but it basically just says benefits. So to give an example, in discussions with Mary Carriola, they have offered to provide training for, we do pre-UPK and after-school programs, I think before and after-school programs. And they've offered to do free training for our folks there. They've also offered to work with the school district to help them on some projects, including one of the things we want to take a look at is there's an effort between the Chamber of Commerce, of which the town is a part of, and the school district to do more, I'll call it like career guidance for jobs for which there is a high demand today. So that teachers, nurses, skilled trades, careers like that. And so they've offered to come in to talk about with this high school students, becoming a special needs educator and all the other positions involved in special needs education, because I don't know that everybody understands fully what's involved in special needs education. So none of those involve payments in lieu of taxes. Those are other things that benefit the community. And that's the thing that I stress in this. Some towns' community benefit agreement is essentially a pilot or an additional payment on top of pilot. That's not what we're looking for here. Again, I'm not saying that there might not be some of that in there. That's something that we would negotiate. But the idea is that CBA would have to be approved by the town board, and it would have to be negotiated and essentially approved by all those involved in the CBA. So there was this implied that the town is forcing it through. We're not. We're basically saying, for a lot of these things, especially for the children's center, there are a lot of other state approvals still to come. And if we continue to push this back, that's going to create issues. And I know that the individual who's made significant donations to both Mary Carriola and University of Rochester wants to see this project move forward and wants to see those donations used. He doesn't want to see this keep being delayed. And in some discussions, I understand there's some frustration as to how long it takes. We certainly don't want to be the impediment for that. I've had a long relationship with Tom and love working with him. Don't want to be the person he's mad at because we're taking a long time to get this done. So like I said, I don't I'm 1/5 of the board, but I see no reason why we would table this because we give up till December to get that CBA in place. And again, the SUP is not conditioned on the CBA, just the amount of space under the incentive zoning. And CBAs are a normal part of incentive zoning. In fact, I also happen to know that some of the entities involved have CBAs with other towns through incentive zoning. So it's not like this is the first time they've ever seen a CBA.
Yeah, I certainly would not want to see this delayed because of some misunderstanding between the board and attorneys that represent the hospital. I think it's a good project. I think the mitigation that we're going through is a necessary thing to make sure civic amenities are a benefit to the town as well.
So just so I understand you clearly, Supervisor, you're advocating that we approve the special use permit 008 and allow the conversation around the CBA to go on after the approval?
Correct. And so if you read the approval, so the first thing, the resolution, well, the first thing up will be seeker. Because seeker has to be done before anything else, any action can be taken. And then next up is we combine the incentive zoning. And now if you look on the list, because this is how it was submitted, since it was a school use, that was the initial incentive zoning. It was done as part of 09, but again, if you read that section of 295-34-13, it makes it clear that the incentive zoning has to be done first. So even though it's listed, incentive zoning application 2026-01 is listed with 09, it actually has to be done before 08. And so basically that first, there's a seeker resolution, and then there is another resolution that improves the incentive zoning and approves special use permit application 008. What it has in there then is if we're unable to, there's a second clause that basically says if we're unable to come to an agreement with all parties involved on a community benefits agreement by December 31st, then what would happen is the percentages under the SUP would drop back to I'll call it the slightly modified level as opposed to the significantly modified level. Because that's, again, that modification is part of that incentive zone. If we didn't do this, we would have to significantly delay. I will just say I'm skeptical that we could get to an agreement in 3 weeks based on the number of boards involved, which is why I would not want to see this held up while we discuss and negotiate a CBA. I'd rather it move forward. One of the things I point out, they don't have to build under, and a special use permit isn't a contract between us. We can place those, as we just did with Emerald Events. It's like, if they don't agree to those conditions, that's okay. They have to do them or they don't build. That's their choice. But they don't get to say, there's no requirement that they agree with our conditions. We try to word them in a way that's not gonna be too intrusive, yeah. Right? But if they would prefer that we didn't require the quiet music, it doesn't matter what they think. That's the conditions upon which their SUP was granted. So again, if the University of Rochester does not wish to move forward with their SUP, that's their choice. If they decide not to build under this SUP, that's their choice. But in terms of, this is essentially a multiple people are being affected, and the applicant for 008 in this case is Wilmerite, the current property owner. but the other two are again involved. This doesn't limit what U of R can do, doesn't limit what, Mary Carroll can do or Wilmerite. It's just basically saying, in order to get that significantly expanded use, we're gonna have to get the CBA in place.
Is the applicant here, either in person or online?
Yes, we have, I can see people from,
I'm at Wilmerite.
oh, is there someone from Wilmerite here? I know Peter is representing everybody. I don't know if an actual Wilmerite's here. But I've had significant, so we've had significant meetings with all three entities.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, unfortunately, there was nobody from Wilmerite that could make the meeting
Okay.
this evening, but as the supervisor said, I know they have been in conversations with him
Okay.
over the last few days.
And we did get, as Peter mentioned, we got the letter, including the map showing what the donation will be. And in talking with Wilmerite as recently as this afternoon on the phone, they were fine with moving forward.
Okay.
Mary Cariola was fine with moving forward. The only one that I've heard that
Had some
hesitation was U of R, but they were basically said that they thought that the way it was worded to me in the email sent to me was that, or sent to the town, was that we were conditioning the approval of the SUP on incentive zoning, which is not correct. So their concern is not correct.
Okay.
Who said that?
It was the attorney for, yes, the individual's here if she'd like to discuss that, but it's up to her.
I thought when we talked about that, that was more for the U of R.
That's what I'm saying. The U of R expressed the
Right.
concerns that's why they wanted us to table, because they thought, let me pull up that
I
email.
was gonna bring up that, RIT, they not only make a donation to the fire district, but they also offer college course classes to Rush Henrietta students for no charge. It's my,
Yes, that program's still going on.
Yes,
A lot of
it is.
students take advantage of that.
Yeah, I'm kind of I'm listening to everything, but I'm kind of confused why U of R would have some hesitation here. And maybe they just didn't understand that, but these community benefits just good for everything about the community. Universities are part of this community. Hopefully it can be cleared up. Maybe they just misunderstood what was being
Right.
said.
So-
But this is something
They basically did not want to move forward with an authorizing resolution without some guardrails on the scope of the community benefit. It says, as currently drafted, the inclusion of the school district, fire district, CHS Mobile, which they said is not a private, which is a private not-for-profit, not a taxing authority. That's correct. We are the taxing authority for them. So just to address that issue, it now says taxing authority / recipient, because they are the recipient of the ambulance district funds. They basically, want a well-defined, narrowed community benefit to, and I don't agree with that. We weren't saying, one of the things, again, the reason, as I wrote back, the reason we mentioned all of those organizations is because, again, in a lot of towns, community benefit really means benefit to the town municipality. We are truly talking about community benefit. Our residents they also pay school taxes, they pay ambulance, fire, county. If we can help the districts, and again, it doesn't necessarily have to be, we're not talking necessarily payment in lieu of taxes. We're talking about other things that could help them and potentially lower their operating costs. That's another way to save money for our residents. So when we look at a community benefit, we truly are looking at the community and not just the town coffers.
So I'd like to respond to Ms. Owen's comments and on behalf of the university. they definitely want to be a member of this community. They are a member of this community. They believe in being a member of community in Henrietta, or they wouldn't be doing this. You know, they're have been very successful with the orthopedic center, and now they have this fantastic opportunity to expand that within the community of Henrietta. So, you know, that is the fact that they do want to be the community. With respect to their hesitation, it is they believe there are ways to help the community based on a lot of the, you know, programs and things that they offer. Their request is based on simply is just trying to get an understanding of what is it that the town is looking. I say looking for, but it's what are we looking at? Because what are the assets or the opportunities that the university brings by being there? Is there ability to help with the park, given the orthopedic center, and there things like that. So that's why they made the request.
Sure.
So they could get an idea of what are we talking about.
Well, they should have some idea because we went through a whole bunch of them at an hour-plus long meeting at Town Hall. But, you know, one of the things that was mentioned, and then I followed up with an email, you know, one of the things that was mentioned was like the fact that because in a number of other locations, they rent properties, they're paying a lot of money towards the fire district. Well, you know, one of the things is, well, those are all in the town of Brighton. And although it is the Henrietta Fire District, but my point being, so we say that's great, and we consider that's great, that's the contribute. Well, then what if tomorrow they buy all those properties? And suddenly there goes, I think they were saying 400K or 500K to the fire district. That all goes away. So, you know, that's outside of our control. Is there some way we can account for that? Can we put, you know, it should be in negotiations. We're not making demands. We're talking about, you know, as far as the other services, I don't know everything they have to offer. You know, can they do something like what RIT does for the courses? Can they do I don't have a narrow set. I'm open to discussion. But that discussion is going to take some time, and I don't want to hold this stuff up because without these initial approvals, they can't start the process at the state for a lot of the stuff. So that's the whole idea behind saying we'll have a CBA in place. It expressly states that all parties agree to.
So Supervisor, you're indicating, it's my understanding that you want to pass the special use permit application tonight and then hammer out the legal document of the community benefits agreement at a later date that
Correct.
all parties can agree to.
Yeah, and it would just have to be completed per the thing sometime before December 31st. So that gives us 7 months.
So
6.5.
as per the special use permit application, we just need to agree that there will be some sort of community benefit.
No, you don't for the special use permit.
Mhm.
Again, the use is allowed. The special use permit that changes the percentages basically says we're either going to do it some small amount, or if the community benefit agreement is there, it's going to be a larger amount.
Okay, I'm
but
looking
then
at the last be it further
Right.
resolved.
That's why
Yeah.
it goes back to those smaller percentages, and it basically says, you know, in parentheses, just to make it clear where they came from. So we did already, because of the donation of the civic space and the corresponding approval of the complementary use. That's why you'll see for the school or civic space, it allows a larger percentage. The other ones, the one was already goes to the previously approved alteration, which was again a minor modification. The other two just go back to the standard amounts under the code. So that's essentially the default position, unless we can get a community benefit agreement in place to greatly expand those ranges.
Okay,
but either way, we're saying we're gonna allow this redistribution of the percentages. And then, you know, the subsequent two SUPs say you can put a school there and you can put a medical center there. So neither of those are conditioned, that's a use, not a size. The amount of floor space, you know, this would not, even if we never got to a CBA, they could still do the IDD center. Because and they could do the majority of the southern wing of the mall. There's a portion of it that they wouldn't be able to complete otherwise.
I do have one question to ask, and it may be presumptive, but I do like some clarification. If the board tonight acts on the incentive zoning resolution, and there's the condition in there that the CBA has to be worked out by 12/31/26, does the CBA have to be adopted to, I'm going to say, validate the incentive zoning? Where I'm going for this, does the CBA have to be adopted prior to any site plan application to the planning board? I just want to clarify that on the benefit of Mary Carey Olaf.
So the only, again, for the civic space, that's allowed, so it wouldn't affect the civic space site plan. It wouldn't affect the IDD.
Okay.
Or whichever of those medical centers they do first. There's two medical centers in there. Either one of them would fit under. If you tried to do them both, under the smaller percentage. So, but yes, to answer your question, before they could submit a site plan for both of the spaces, we would have to have the CBA. Well, I mean, they could submit them. They would just be conditioned upon the.
Okay, understood. Thank you.
Peter, I just want a couple quick things.
Yeah, go ahead.
One first thing, CBA, I don't have the resolution in front of me. I'm looking at the.
CBA has to be approved by
Has
us.
by us.
That's by law.
Okay.
So
I just want to double check.
No, we can't.
So,
I didn't mention it because it's by law.
okay. So Peter, you mentioned about the great community service the Orthopedic Center offers to the Henrietta community. I think it's real clear that the vast majority of people who get service there don't come from Henrietta. So I just want to make that point that, you know, I think it was kind of exaggerated that helps us so great, you know,
I appreciate what you're saying, but I also look at it from the standpoint, or I know the university looks at it from the standpoint, though, that it does bring people regionally into Henrietta to use other services and facilities here. So it is a benefit. And because of the regional, national recognition the center gets, it puts Henrietta on the map. So,
and it does bring in some folks from out of state. When you look at the benefit, you know, like this is one of the things that I don't think all politicians understand, and we've talked about this before. If I build a new restaurant, I'm not creating any new economic benefit, because if they're going to that restaurant, they're probably not going to a different restaurant. There's a fixed amount. Where that changes is when somebody comes in from out of the area and stays at a hotel, or even just a day trip. And this does provide that. So there is that benefit. You know, the thing I will note is that when that center first came in, it was in an attempt to save the mall. And there's a lot of issues with the malls nationally, but you know, one of the things we talked about expressly was the food court. It was a long time before was a connection between the medical center and the mall. And in addition, and I'll note, without an SUP, the medical center put a cafe inside the medical center. Thus, people don't have to go out to the food court. In addition, at those hearings, we mentioned some of the potential benefits that would help save the mall. So in addition to retail, they could have doctor's offices and drugstores and medical, you know, orthopedic device stores and things like that. But as I understand it, U of R is welcome to correct me if I am wrong here, when they negotiated their agreement with Wilmerite, they excluded all those things from the mall. And so the very thing we were selling to keep the mall alive wasn't there because all those uses were excluded. So I get it. Again, we appreciate it. We love seeing the mall be revitalized and not turn into a problem empty husk. But I will also say sometimes the benefits have been oversold, shall we say.
Thanks. Exaggerated. Thank you.
So as I listen to all this, I don't think we're that far from coming together. I think U of R would be a great tenant, as we all do, for the space that they're looking to have, and definitely welcome them as well as Mary Carol there. What can we do to get this done, Peter?
Well, I think, like I said, what it's really going to take is a bunch of sit downs and going through, what are some of the things U of R wants to offer? What are some of the things that Henrietta's looking to accept, and where are the places, so again, I've reached out to those other entities to ask, hey, do you have any ideas? Are there ways, again, other than or in addition to financial means by which they can be benefited? One of the things that we've talked about is, in terms of the creation of that park, we have all the crews that can put all the stuff in the park. There, could there be some financial benefit to specifically the bridges, right? That was part of the discussion. In fact, I think that's why they specifically mentioned it in the letter.
Okay.
So like I said, there's a bunch of different possibilities. And I think it just is a matter of sitting down and negotiating those. But like I said, the advantage of doing it this way is that it gives us, we're not rushed. I just find it hard to believe that in 3 weeks, we could get through this and have it in place. And I'd be afraid on June 11th, we'd be saying, well, we got a table in another 3 weeks, and then another 3 weeks after that. And by now we're missing, the windows to get the Children's Center approved through all of the approvals they need. And again, I am sure the IDD has a ton of approvals required for that as well. So I would rather get this started, and then the entities, Mary Cariola and University of Rochester can move forward as they desire. If they don't want to move forward until the CBA is hammered out, that's their option. I'm okay with that.
I just want to conclude. I think I was more confused about the letter that came from U of R, and because I do know that U of R has made a concerted effort about being part of the community, but I think it makes sense for us to all sit down and really kind of figure out what that community benefit is. Coming from a background and came from the other side, working for a university and understanding from a really great boss mentioned, but one of the things she said, like, universities are a very important part of the community, and we need, as a university, we need to make sure that we're connecting to the town. And that's where I'm coming from. And so when I heard that letter, I was like, whoa, this doesn't sound like that. I'd like to see more from the universities, obviously. And but I think sitting down and having that conversation, what that community benefit would be a great thing. But I don't want to hold back anything. I think we need to move forward and not table things.
And to be clear, they did say they are interested in moving forward. They just didn't want to, like I said, I think the issue here is they wanted to, I'll read a quote, want to flag legal issue for, since a municipality cannot condition a special use permit approval on receiving financial or in-kind contributions to taxing authorities or other entities to offset or penalize. And again, that's not what we're stating. If you read the thing, it does not state that at all. What it states is under the incentive zoning, and we're not even still asking for that offset. We're saying we're looking to negotiate community benefits to help the other entities in our involved in our community. They're going to be losing a bunch of tax base. Is there ways to help lessen the impact of that? We've already talked about how Mary Carroll is going to help us with training, and that they're going to help the school with stuff as well. And I've got to believe with all that U of R has to offer, that we can find similar things like that. Anyway, just to be clear, they have not said they're not interested in moving forward. They've not said they're not interested in doing some sort of community benefit. They just did not want to move forward without that being well defined. My issue is I'd rather do it this way, where we say we're approving this with the incentive zoning, with the understanding that we're going to do the, we've got 6 months to get the CBA in place. And that way we're not holding up everything until that is done. Because like I said, based on initial conversations, it's not going to be a 3-week thing.
I'm just a little shocked, with the size of this project and everything, that Wilmerite didn't make anybody available. That's nothing against you, Peter, or anybody else, but I'm just a little shocked that they're not here if we had any questions, which I think Steve might know them, but I'd rather hear from the Wilmerite themselves. Who has the first right of refusal to J.C. Penney's?
Under this agreement, it would be Mary Carriola.
Okay, how about Dave and Buster's?
That would be University of Rochester.
Okay, does anybody know when their lease runs out? Because that's one question I had.
I don't know when their lease runs out. Neither of them have indicated that they're going anywhere right now. J.C. Penney's, this particular J.C. Penney's is doing well. Or I should say as well as any J.C.
I think when we met with Wilmerite with you last week, I think they represented, I believe they just signed a series of 5-year leases with J.C. Penney.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, and then I also believe, but I don't know.
The more likely scenario for J.C. Penney's is that the parent company goes under and they all go.
Yes, and they all.
This particular one's good. Dave and Buster's has indicated they're not interested in going anywhere soon.
Yep.
The one that is empty, obviously, is Dick's Sporting Goods, and that's URMC. But I will also say that I don't think that particular building construction is the best for these youth. But
Dave and Buster's might want to stay, but if Wilmerite doesn't renew their lease because they got a great offer to sell the property, they may choose to do that.
I don't know that that's how the lease is written, but
well, I'm asking that would be nice. That would be nice to know if Wilmerite was here being part of this whole thing, that if they were here to answer some questions. So how about the Indy track? Is that U of R?
IndyCar? Yeah. So yeah, that is that one of all of them. That is the one that is likely to close down first, from what I understand.
So I just, I'm look at the list and see that, when this goes through, if it goes through, I know the values are coming down on that property all the time.
Right.
But as of right now, there's $250,000 worth of school tax.
Right. I will also say that I can't see U of R buying that property. In other words, if they haven't developed any of the other stuff, and they may, but it just from a financial standpoint, it doesn't make sense to acquire new property that I had to develop that when I still haven't developed all the other property that I just acquired to develop it, so.
Last question. Did we ever get an answer if U of R charges their employees for parking?
We did. That did come up.
That just,
And they,
suggested that.
yeah, so the University of Rochester, not just for Henrietta, although we'll take credit for it because why not?
Right.
Is changing their policies. They will have I will use the RIT term, which was paid preferred parking. So there will be up close parking that will be paid, but more distant parking will not.
Right.
They're doing that campuses wide. So the point is, so obviously parking garages, the more expensive and to maintain parking spots and the closer in parking spots, those will still have a parking fee, but the ones that are distant parking where or ample parking, they're not going to charge.
I heard that Clinton will not be charged anymore. Clinton, the parking in Clinton won't be charged anymore.
I don't know, but I don't want to get into that here, but well, like I said, that's how they basically
Just
said it,
curious
is
if we got
that
the
these
answer. Thank you.
preferred spaces will still continue to be charged, like parking garages, like up close parking spaces. So there will still be some parking at the mall area that will still be charged, but if they park further out and walk over, they will, there's no charge for
Yeah,
that.
perfect.
That's how it was explained to us
Yeah.
at the meeting.
I would just, and Mr. Stafford, just as it relate, if you talk about those other properties were to go out of business, of what the current tax levy is and what that is. But also remember though, the pilot governs everything, so to speak, such that Wilmorite still has the obligation under the pilot. That's what's been done in the past with this. So the pilot still holds, I guess, is really what I would say as it relates to Wilmorite. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions?
No.
Comments from the public? Any comments from the applicants? Anybody online? Going once?
One person.
You guys in the-
We do have someone?
Just, it's Karen Zandy. Just, I'm out of town, but appreciate the conversation. Thanks for, the work you're doing on this.
Thank you.
Thank you for considering Henrietta. All right, then hearing and seeing nothing further, I'm going to close the public hearing for special use permit application number 2026-008, Marketplace Mall Mixed Use Modification. Next up, we have the public hearing for special use permit application number 2026-009. And as I mentioned, the incentive zoning was actually moved over to 008. But this is for Mary Carriola's Children's Center Incorporated, 3400 West Henrietta Road and 25 Miracle Mile Drive to operate a supportive educational institution. Peter, could you just give an update on the discussions about the improved bus loading, unloading that's being considered? And I know that would be more of a site plan thing, but I think it's important because I think a lot of people, the board will really appreciate the improvements for the loading, unloading.
Yes, so since we were last here, Mary Carriola has been working diligently with their design teams on the various I'll say operations of this facility. And two things that are very important. First of all, as we talked with you a month ago, there was it was determined that they had to take down the existing building and rebuild because of changes to the New York State Building Code. But in doing that, that's actually offered a little flexibility as to where entrances can be and things like that. But then one of the things, and it's one of the things we always consider when in doing the work we do, one thing, what may be the simplest thing from a site planning standpoint, you still have to think about how it will work in perpetuity. And not to put her on the spot, but Dr. Sheffer there, she was very concerned with the original plan as to quote unquote, the time the children would have to be on the bus waiting in a queue. It's not obviously a desirable situation. So what we've been working on is actually a modification such that really we're looking at taking an area, best way I could say it is, it would be perpendicular to what will become one of the main entrances, such that they can stack the buses there. There would be a median concrete walkway covered, is what we're considering, to take such that the staff is there to get the children off the bus, walk them to the school, walk them into the school. In other words, basically increase the capacity to stack more buses that are discharging children in the morning and picking them up in the afternoon. So that is something we're continuing to work on because it is so important. As I said, they have to do this every day for
Right.
for many years to come. So that is important for us to figure that out.
So at our meeting with Mary Carroll, I had just said, you know, well, if you're taking this down, why limit yourself to the current footprint? And Peter brought up a good point, whereas you might not have to limit yourself to the footprint. You do run into the problems that the utilities all run around the outsides of the building. So those do become a problem. The nice thing is with this bus plaza, they could go right over the utilities because it's not an enclosed building space. I picture it sort of the happiest place on earth. If you've ever been part of Disney's transportation system, they have those long covered areas, all the buses pull in, you go to your bus. You know, they've certainly gotten that down to a science, and I could see Mary Carroll doing something great. I think it would be great because again, now it just in inclement weather, if you have a kid with, maybe, some sensory issues for during bad weather, to be able to bring them in the protected space, to get more of the buses in there and pulled in. I just think it's a great solution, and I think it's brilliant. That's why I wanted to mention. I think that's right, because I think it's going to be a great addition.
Sounds good.
Any other questions, comments?
Nope.
And anything online? And hearing and seeing none, I'm going to close the public hearing for special use permit application number 2026-009 and incentive zoning application number 2026-001. Finally, we have a public hearing for special use permit application number 2026-010, University of Rochester Medical Clinic Expansion and Intellectual and Development Disabilities Institute, 3400 West Henrietta Road and 15 Miracle Mile Drive, to redevelop components of the former Marketplace Mall for medical research and related uses facilities. We had a letter read early that there was a request to delay approval. Do you wish us to table the special use permit?
On behalf of the university, no, they would not.
Okay.
Ask that you table that. Okay.
In terms of this particular use, again, we already have medical use here. This is really an expansion. To me, this one's fairly no-brainer. Anybody have any comments on the expansion? I think the intellectual and developmental disabilities, and especially with it being co-located with the Mary Cariola Children's Center, is phenomenal. And I think hopefully we'll see a lot of great research and advancements in coming out of that, including, better understandings of these the underlying causes, as well as better treatments, and also just how to better live with, I guarantee you, if you met me as a kid, I guarantee I would have been on that spectrum. Probably considered fairly far on the spectrum initially. Just there wasn't an understanding of it. I also was dyslexic. There was no understanding of that. I still remember getting my spelling test back and being so mad because I knew how to spell the words.
Wow.
Same year I won the spelling bee, I failed spelling because when I wrote them down, I flipped the letters around. They didn't understand that back in whatever that was, 72.
Wow.
So I just think, you see a lot of great advances coming out of the universities, and a lot of it, having that next to actual everyday use, I just think is phenomenal. I think that's the way all these things should be. So, any other questions, comments? Anything online? Then I'm going to close the public hearing for special use permit application number 2026-010, University of Rochester's Medical Clinic Expansion and Intellectual and Developmental Disabilities Institute. All right. We start the approvals. Go for it, Rob.
Supervisor Schultz and fellow board members, I have resolution 10-192, 2026 to accept seeker determination and issue a negative declaration for the Marketplace mixed-use development, including the Mary Carola Children's Center, Inc., and the University of Rochester Medical Clinic expansion and the IDD Institute at 3400 West Henrietta Road and various properties on Miracle Mile Drive.
Second.
Before we begin voting, I just want to make a disclosure that I do in fact work for the University of Rochester in my day job. I do not work for any of these units that are impacted. I think everyone probably has some sort of very close connection to the University of Rochester as being one of the largest employers here in the area. And I do not personally feel that a conflict or feel that I would be biased in any way.
Thank you. I would agree with that assessment. As I mentioned, in looking at this, we updated this to include the creation of the park in that new donated parkland. Normally, we just mention we do mention the bridge here. Normally, that would be a condition on the approval of park if it was for somebody else, but since it's for us and we don't have to pass an approval for ourselves, it's contained here in the seeker resolution. Right. Any other questions, comments? I think we pretty much covered this fairly heavily. You know, in terms of it's basically finds that there are no significant adverse environmental impacts. And again, the only one that is potential is if you put in a bridge that restricts the flow of that creek. Therefore, we say, don't do that to ourselves. All right. Any further comments? Hearing and seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Barley,
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford,
Aye.
Councilmember Safranek,
Aye.
Councilmember Owens,
Aye. Supervisor Schultz.
Aye.
Mr. Supervisor and fellow board members, I have resolution 10-193, 2026 to approve with conditions special use permit application number 2026-008 and incentive zoning application number 2026-001 for the Marketplace Mall mixed use reconfiguration, including allowing a school under the mixed use redevelopment area.
Second.
So as I usually do with these, I read the conditions. So again, there is, I don't know if you can quite call it a condition, but under the incentive zoning approval, it's that we would establish a community benefit agreement to assist the taxing authorities adversely affected by the significant increase in tax exempt industrial space above the normally allowed limits. And as talked about, that community benefit agreement would be negotiated and that one is in agreement, so all parties essentially have to approve it in order for it to go into place. That including us on behalf of the town. So and then after that is the approval of special use permit with the following conditions: that the allowed use mixes will be industrial from 0 to 56%. Well, that's higher than what was originally asked at 39%, because we don't want to have, because they have those rights of first refusal, we didn't want them to have to come back and get approval and update the stuff. So the idea is we would approve this for the expanded ranges. And so again, that 56% is significantly higher than the 35% normally allowed for industrial. Commercial from 10% to 65%. In that case, we lowered the bottom end, which I will note is still above 5% because in the law, it can't in any time be below that. Residential from 10 to 35%. That was previously, well, we had to lower the bottom end because with some additional floor space coming in, it changed it from like, I think it was 11% down to 10 or 12 to 11, but, and then civic from 5 to 30%, we increased the high end significantly to cover the addition of the school as well as the new park. Number two, the applicant will dedicate approximately 8 acres of land adjacent to the marketplace senior housing for use as a small public park with walking trails and will assist the town in the creation of said trails. Number three, the applicant will remove all mall wayfinding signs on town, county, state, and federal roads and highways that point to the former marketplace mall. And so, as mentioned, if the town and the involved entities, including the applicant, are unable to reach an agreement on the community benefits agreement prior to December 31st, 2026, then the use percentages allowed under this approval will instead be set to industrial from 0 to 30%, that's per code, commercial 35 to 65%, excuse me, 30% to 65% per code, residential from 10 to 35, previously approved limits, and civic from 5 to 30%. Those are the newly approved limits based on the addition of the park. So that's what how the resolution reads. Just a whole lot more paragraphs. Any other questions, comments?
Mr. Supervisor, did the floor and decor consent or acknowledgement, did we receive that?
They have, they are, the local did, and they're running it up through the chain. So I will just note that we will be approving this conditioned upon essentially them approving. They did not see any issue, but they had to check with their corporate attorneys. Unfortunately, it took multiple emails to finally get through to somebody who could fully authorize that. So yeah, and that just mentioned, I did talk with Wilmerite, and they had anticipated this coming in and unfortunately forgot to write it into their transfer agreement too, that they would approve this. But like I said, they don't see an issue. They want to see the other traffic around there. They don't want to see the mall decline. So, but they just, the person who I was talking to couldn't sign the corporate name for it. So, so like I said, we just note that if they for some reason object to it, then we will have to revisit this approval. But I don't see that being the case. I also don't want to necessarily fully write in that it's conditioned upon that, because I don't want them to then say, oh, I'm going to use that as leverage to try to squeeze something out from Mary Carrill and University of Rochester. But per Mr. Mastrella's point, that we will need that
Condition.
consent is the way it is worded in the law before this will become official. We have consent from all other parties. So, any other questions?
I just have one comment. I forgot to mention it earlier, but I promised some residents that I would mention it. I believe before I mentioned the road that circles around the mall there, the Miracle Mile Drive, and it continues to be a concern, especially the speed bumps, because they're not well marked. So if there's any way to at least put a little striping paint on it until the whole area is revamped, I think that there's a lot of neighbors that would really appreciate that.
That's Wilmerite, right?
That is currently
That is-
Wilmerite.
Yeah.
Once this sale is completed sometime late fall, I believe that will be U of R going forward. But in the meantime, right now it is Wilmerite. I will work with Wilmerite to get that done.
Thank you.
Be nice if they were here.
What's that?
Be nice if they were here. Thank you.
Mhm.
Any other questions, comments? Hearing and seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Barley,
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford,
Aye.
Councilmember Safranek,
Aye.
Councilmember Owens,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye.
Mr. Supervisor and fellow board members, I have resolution 10-194, 2026 to approve a special use permit application number 2026-009 for Mary Carriola Children's Center at the former Marketplace.
Second.
Any further discussion? I think this is going to be a great addition to the town.
Mhm.
Hearing and seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Barley,
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford,
Aye.
Councilmember Safranek,
Aye.
Councilmember Owens,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye.
Mr. Supervisor, fellow town board members, I have resolution 10-195, 2026 to approve special use permit application number 2026-010. I believe there's a typo here.
Oh, yep, good. The copy paste there.
Yeah, for the new University of Rochester Medical Centers at the former Marketplace Mall.
Second. Yeah, down below it says 010.
Yeah.
The header doesn't.
Mhm.
Again, I think this is a great addition to the mall, or to the town, and like to see the mall reused. So
And just to Councilmember Stafford's point that the orthopedic center doesn't necessarily get used by
I
residents.
didn't say that.
no,
I didn't say that.
majority used by
I
non-residents.
didn't. I said,
I'm just gonna say that having a very active now 13-year-old boy, we have been there more times than I care to
Well,
count.
well, as you know, I didn't say that. I said the majority of the clients probably
non-residents,
don't come from Henrietta.
Because it serves such a broad area.
Right.
Yes,
But it certainly is convenient.
Yes.
it is convenient,
I'm not denying that.
especially when your kid falls off the playground every year and breaks the other wrist.
I know where you're coming from. My youngest, his nickname was Head Wound Hayden. What the?
Yes, no,
Okay.
yes, next one.
Any questions or comments? And hearing and seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Barley,
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford,
Aye.
Councilmember Safranek,
Aye.
Councilmember Owens,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye. Congratulations. We look forward to this continuing to move forward, and we'll be reaching out later this week or early next week to start the discussions on getting to a community benefit agreement that we can all agree to.
Yeah.
Thank you. Next up, we have a proposed public hearing for a proposed local law to amend the town code to allow a neighborhood upgrade incentive zoning. This is a continuation public hearing. As discussed, there are some uses in the rural residential zone, including under incentive zoning, that aren't available in the normal R115 district. What this local law does is for any of the large farm parcels that are left in the residential R115 or R120 districts, it would allow them to use the same incentive zoning that and uses that we see in the rural residential, but only for parcels that are 5 acres or larger. Which that's not an arbitrary number. 5-acre lot minimum is the minimum acreage for a lot in the rural residential. So, any questions or comments? And hearing and seeing none, I'm going to close the public hearing for the proposed local law to amend the town code to allow a neighborhood upgrade incentive zoning. Next up, we have a public hearing for proposed local law to update zoning codes to add the missing verbiage for additional uses in the Brooks Road rural residential lands. So again, this is also a continuation. As noted, when we put this in, that we added a couple special uses for one of the parcels. And when we did, those uses are ones that in that same in the rural residential zone, they do require special use permits. It did not expressly mention that when it listed them as special uses, so there was some question as to whether they still required a public or a SUP. They did, so we're updating the code to make it clear that they do require an SUP, just to get rid of any ambiguity. Any other questions or comments on this one? Then hearing and seeing none, I'm going to close the public hearing for the proposed local law to update zoning codes to add missing verbiage for additional uses in the Brooks Road rural residential lands. Last up, we have an Article 10 discussion for a request for a barn at the historic property at 431 Lehigh Station Road. Would you like to come forward and introduce yourself? Tell us what you're looking to do.
Thank you, Lee Bradley. Been there since 1988. And I still rent from my business that I had over at the market, Genesee Regional. So it's quite expensive being on retired now. And so I talked to Gary after Chris Mentagna, I think that's how it's pronounced. Said, yeah, your house is now historic, which I didn't know. So I sent them assorted pictures and views from the street. My neighbor, a couple 100 feet away, 150, 200 feet away, has a pole barn by Santilli. So I thought what I proposed to the site committee would work, and they had suggested some things that were architecturally very nice, but I didn't think it was appropriate for, you know, the house and the area with all the new construction going up down at the River Road end of Lehigh Station Road. Couple houses, 3 houses from the railroad tracks that go to Avon, the sweetener factory, and you know, it's a mixed, very mixed neighborhood. A couple 1850 houses. I think it's the old Hill property was the Federalist style house, the brick one across the street from me, and you know, so it's kind of a eclectic, couple newer homes. So I thought it's clean. It's about 160, 180 feet off the road. And since everybody drives so fast, they don't see anything.
Yeah, so as I understand it, they basically suggested either you make it look a bit more like the Tudor home, you know, so one of the things, I don't know, are you looking at board and batten or metal or what?
It was, you know, I found a Lakeshore Metal out of Medina, gave me an excellent price, well within the budget that I have anticipated, and got another quote that was a bit higher, but I thought it fit in with my neighbor's barn even nicer than, so the color scheme that I proposed was gonna do the similar trim colors on my house. Originally, my house was stucco. When I bought it, it was failing when my former wife and I bought that, and so just out of cost, stucco is not practical in New York, so or anywhere in the Northeast where it gets hot and cold. So it matches the 20s. I don't know of any other. I asked Gary if there were any other 20s homes in Henrietta, and I've never seen one, and I've been there 38 years.
Yeah, I'm not positive.
Yeah,
You know, in terms of the other option they had was to put up, you know, some vegetative screening just to kind of separate it from the
and that
Tudor
might-
home.
well, and that also, you know, because of the speed that everybody loves to drive down Lehigh at,
Yeah, unfortunately, that doesn't get taken into account when you're looking at
no, and I know that,
preservation
but
of historic properties.
Yeah.
The other thing I'll note is that I don't know if Chris had mentioned this, but your maximum or the size you are asked is above the maximum size you would have
oh,
to.
it is. I didn't,
Yeah,
I
you
thought
would.
it was well within because of the 2.5 acres.
No, unfortunately, and this is someday we'll get it updated, but it only allows for 1% of the auxiliary buildings, which are sheds, barns, things like detached garages, things like that. It's up to 1% of the acreage or square footage. That puts you below 1,000. Now, one of the things is under this Article 10, we can actually grant you the variance.
Okay, thank you.
So we've got three options here. One of which was if you weren't willing to do one of the mitigations, either the screening or a front that looks consistent with Tudor, that we would deny. In terms of approve, we can either approve it with basically we can approve it now, the Article 10, but you would have to go to the zoning board. Or if you want, what we can do is advertise for a public hearing regarding the variance, and we can actually approve it here at our next meeting.
Would you describe the screening again? Because that was, my plan was to move, I have mature lilacs where I want to put this. And I have a nice little John Deere tractor that I can dig them out, relocate them at the road. So, and
Yeah, and whether it doesn't necessarily need to be all at the road. I might ask Gary to give some clarification, but typically, you know, so like it could be, typically it would be behind the house, but before the barn. So somewhere, or maybe adjacent to the house, so it screens the
view from the road, is that what you're looking for?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that was my plan anyway.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's, you know, whether it's arborvitae's,
lilac, anything like that. Yeah. Yep.
8 to 10 lilacs that are 12 to 15 feet high.
Yeah. I'd have to double check with Gary, but to me that does sound sufficient. Okay.
Yeah.
We have some lilac bushes that we have to keep trimming down because otherwise we can't see off of our porch.
Yeah, and I'm going to keep them back far enough off the road.
Right.
But yeah, I have dogs that get enthusiastic, so I don't let them near the road.
No, understood.
Because I like them. So.
Yeah, so that's what they were looking at, and then like I said, for the to be honest, what would be easiest for you would be that we do the version of the resolution that calls for a public hearing regarding a variance request. Because no one caught it at the time, we didn't advertise this to have a variance request, so we can't you have to call for a public hearing and notify neighbors for a variance request. We didn't do that for here because I'm the one that caught it. When I wrote it up, I'm like, well, wait a minute. That you're about 500, 600 square feet too large. I agree with you, and I went through the same thing. For me, it had to do with setbacks. This one we have since fixed. This was before I was ever town supervisor. I had a 600-foot wide property, and the setbacks used to be percentage. I think it was 750. It used to be 10% of the front width. So now I couldn't put my barn within 75 feet of my neighbor's property. It was silly. We have fixed that one. We haven't fixed the 1% yet. But,
yeah, there's only 6 houses in that little hamlet, but
yeah.
I think it's called Fenner.
And then this is what I'm saying, whereas I'm fairly sure variance would be granted. It's easier to do it through us than because that's one of the advantages of the historic properties. One of the things we've tried to do with the Article 10 stuff is because we understand it's an additional burden, we've tried to put some additional benefits on the people who maintain historic properties. So for instance, a normal house, you have to have a paved driveway. For a historic property, especially when you consider that when your house was built, they didn't have paved roads.
Right.
We allow the stone, now they still have to be built to the standard of the stone driveways, but we allow stone driveways. We typically want to see the apron that's in the right of way paved for when you're pulling off, and that has to do with a lot more with as I'm accelerating out, I'm not kicking stones up onto the road.
Yeah, no, and I have a paved driveway that was done by.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
But my point being, like, if you're gonna do the driveway out to the barn, that wouldn't have to be paved, it could be
Oh,
done.
okay. Yeah, it's only 10 feet,
Oh, okay,
10 feet beyond where my driveway ends.
gotcha. Okay,
Yes,
because
'cause I have-
it's a decent behind your house, isn't it? I thought or was I reading the floor plan right?
From my house to the.
To the barn.
I have a 2-car
Oh, so you've got,
attached.
it's a house,
garage.
you have a detached garage,
Probably done before.
and then you've got, okay,
And
gotcha,
like
and then the barn
8
is
feet or
behind the
10 feet
garage.
behind to the west. So it's gonna be 15 feet because I want to have access to my back field.
Yeah.
I have a
Gary, why
parallel.
don't you sit at this table here so you can chime in? And then, go, if you could sit down to the mic, yeah, so they can hear. No, you can stay right there. Yeah,
Is it working?
yes, it is. Introduce yourself for the,
Gary Goodrich, Historic Site Committee. And I know you guys got this, and I don't know if Becky can pull up the site plan for the proposed barn.
I have an extra copy.
where my confusion was, I forgot that there was a detached garage. So I knew there was some distance between the house and the
Right.
barn, but I didn't realize the driveway went back there.
Yeah, she's gonna pull it up,
Yeah, I see it.
also. And, because it's a
Gotcha.
not attached garage is why this is considered an accessory building, which is why it falls to the 1%.
Thank you.
I was
Yeah,
told
didn't
that
know.
had been explained to you, but anyway, the committee was good with where he wanted to put the building.
Mhm.
It was just the view from the road, because he does have a gorgeous Tudor house. That was registered historic, must be just prior to you buying it, because Mr. Zimmer did it in 1988.
Maybe you never know.
Anyway.
That's all right.
We just wanted to keep
It
with the
is-
style of the house or block it from view. And if you take a look at, well, that doesn't show the overhead view. He's got a copy if you want to just hand it to them.
Oh, she just pulled it up.
We got
Yeah,
it. We
there.
got it.
So you can see there are some trees on
Right.
this view.
Yes.
I'm not sure if they're still there or not. But
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
blank spot where he wants to put it would be very visible from the road. So all we were asking is some sort of foliage to block that. And it doesn't have to be at the road. It could be along the front edge of that paved area where that white fan is or whatever it is.
Well,
Right along here if you wanted to.
yeah, to the right of that bed.
Right.
And
You stay near the microphone just for the minute.
sorry.
No problem.
Yeah, we don't want you to move fruit trees
No, I agree.
or lilac.
Well, but if he's got if the lilacs would otherwise come out because he's gonna put the barn
Yes.
there,
Yeah,
Then-
they
then-
would be,
that'd be fine moving them.
Okay.
They typically,
Grow fast.
they're pretty
well,
hard.
not just that, yes, I've
They're hard.
relocated lilacs myself. They do pretty well.
So they're not gonna be be in shock? How old are they?
Well, once,
The first year, they probably won't see a lot of growth, but year two, they will.
Yeah.
once they're bloomed, my understanding is they're, quite proliferate.
Right.
That's, yeah.
Yeah.
I like to grow.
I've moved them before, and like I said, it's that first year when they're getting accustomed to their new location, they will typically not do a lot of growth that year, but subsequent years, like I said, we have to stay on top of ours or they'll take over that whole area.
And at the roadside, I have 3 or 4 right now in that same area. There's one gorgeous white oak at the road. So unfortunately, I have to take a white oak down and yeah, it's just,
Oh, that's sad.
yeah,
Mhm.
it's what it is.
And then the other thing that came up after I found out about the whole 1% and the need for the variance is if you take a look, can you go back to that picture you had up before, Becky? That shows, yes, thank you. Well, that doesn't show the parcel lines on it, but
Yeah, it does.
okay, it's very close to his neighbors and
Oh, it doesn't show the neighbor's house on there, but yeah.
right, on the view that I have here, it does show it close to the property line, so we might want to have the building department check when you give them that measurement, because that would need to be added into the.
Yeah, so, if there's a need for a side variance?
Right,
Yep, okay.
potentially. You can't tell from here the
It's,
distance.
I think it's 15 feet now. We got,
What Chris told me, because of the zoning, it was 8 feet from the lot line.
okay,
And it's a parallelogram with when
Yeah,
when we bought that, I wanted that house. The former Mrs. Bradley wanted this house. So
She won.
we know,
that's right.
yeah, well,
so, but we gave them 50 feet around, took enough acreage out the back that there was never gonna be someone building back there, and then the substation is beyond that, so
Right,
it's actually really private. So it's really nice.
nice.
So I just spend more time in the back.
so we just need to well, I don't, but the building department and.
I will ask them to verify, and if there needs to be, it sounds like there doesn't need to be a side variance, but if there does, we can add it
Right.
to the.
Yeah, Chris, that was my impression when we talked, but
I'll get verification on that.
So that being said, he's mitigating our concerns. So we would be good with how you wanted to handle your part of that.
Right. So that would be option 3, which is to call for public hearing for variance.
is that simplest?
That
Well,
it will
that
be
we-
for you, because otherwise, for a couple things, you'd have to go to the zoning board of appeals, which you're looking at least I think it's 40 days
Oh,
ish.
we don't want that.
Before the first, right? So this we could do in 3
We
weeks.
like this way.
Yeah, that's right. So, and then the other thing is, I will say that that board is the least predictable of all the boards. It's the only way I can put it.
Yeah, the encouraging things is when I did get the prices, that was in the beginning of April, it was just before I saw you guys. They still had openings in June, but that was 6 weeks ago. So who knows what the economy is doing. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's a crapshoot every day.
Okay, so it sounds like we're good with the proposed mitigation. And therefore, what we'll do is, again, we will call for a public hearing, regarding variance request for a proposed barn on the historic property at 431 Lehigh Station Road under Article 10. And that way, in 3 weeks, you'll be done.
So, and in 3 weeks, we'll have to come back and have the hearing for this variance.
Is that here?
It'll
It's
be
here,
here. And then we'll vote on approving the variance once we have the hearing.
Right.
It's usually pretty straightforward, but your neighbors need to be notified.
They like me.
Yeah.
I make them cookies
sure
and
they
banana
will.
bread.
There you go.
People are nice to me, they get it too.
That is the key, be a good neighbor.
Yep.
So, yeah, like I said, by law, we have to have that hearing
No,
and
that's
notify the neighbors, so.
Yeah,
So
no,
otherwise,
this
we-
is a
we're
whole
trying
new
to do that.
process, you know. I enjoyed listening to you guys and it's like, I don't think I want that job.
So, all right. Rob, do you want to put forth option 3?
Option 3, huh? You got it? Supervisor Schultz and fellow board members, I have resolution 10-212-2026 to call for a public,
Hearing, it's missing.
yeah, it is missing. Public hearing regarding a variance request for the proposed barn on the historic property at 431 Lehigh Station Road under Article 10.
Second.
Thank you, Michael.
So, yeah, AI didn't catch that one. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Barley,
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford,
Aye.
Councilmember Safranik,
Aye.
Councilmember Owens,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye. So I'll just note that in 3 weeks, it's actually a Thursday night meeting because of conflicts with other,
Okay.
and so, but
What is the date?
it's Thursday, June 11th.
Okay.
And
Is there anything I need to do in the process or just?
no, I think everything you've
Right.
given us is good. We'll just
The only thing would be an idea of where you want to do
yeah.
the screening.
And that,
Because of the weather, I've been not wanting to get stuck.
yeah,
I don't
understood.
foresee an issue, I'm just,
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
part of it.
that we just need to have, so basically if you can send that to Gary and I, or
I'll take
either one.
pictures and
Perfect.
email them.
right, you send it to me and I'll pass them on to the board.
Yep,
Okay,
sounds
perfect.
good.
And I may be able to move if we get some break in this rain.
Sounds good.
So, thank you.
Very much,
Thank you.
appreciate it. Thank you. And
Thank
thank you
you.
for maintaining a historic house.
Oh,
Yes.
All right, that concludes our public hearings. And I was gonna say, can I get our next resolution, but it's me. Fellow board members, I have resolution 10-196, 2026 to approve and or ratify the following agreements.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing and seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Barley,
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford,
Aye.
Councilmember Safranik,
Aye.
Councilmember Owens,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye.
Fellow board members, I have resolution 10-197, 2026 to authorize bills payable and any associated contracts or agreements for May 7th, 2026 through today, May 20th, 2026.
Second.
I'll note that this distributions includes insurance payments of $377,000, dog shelter and senior center constructions, combined $60,000, Memorial Day Parade $11,000, and paving projects of $23,000. Any other questions, comments? Hearing and seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Barley,
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford,
Aye.
Councilmember Safranik,
Aye.
Councilmember Owens,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye.
Mr. Supervisor and fellow board members, I have resolution 10-198, 2026. Whereas the L.A. Jensen Giving Tree has donated $1,000 to the Henrietta Public Library for Wonder Books. And whereas a check for an amount of $1,000 was received by the library director, therefore be it resolved that the the Henrietta Town Board acknowledges this donation and thanks L.A. Jensen's Giving Tree for their generosity.
Second.
Discussion?
Just always thrilled when there is positive things in our community that can help support literacy. And I think this is a very cool way to help support early literacy.
Yep. At least I've learned about Wonder Books at our workshop. Neat idea. Great way to get kids interested.
Yeah.
Any other questions, comments? Hearing and seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Barley,
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford,
Aye.
Councilmember Safranik,
Aye.
Councilmember Owens,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye.
Mr. Supervisor and fellow board members, I have Resolution 10-199, 2026 to authorize an additional extension of special use permit number 2023-043 and 2023-044 and incentive zoning application number 2023-001 for Green Spark Solar's 5 MW-AC and 1.875 MW-AC commercial solar energy projects located between Middle Road and East Henrietta Road.
Second.
So even though we're extending them all, I will just note that they are only moving forward with the 5 megawatt project. And that's largely because of the charge from RG&E. It's almost the same cost for the 1.875 megawatt AC for their interconnect charge, and that interconnect is so high that they won't generate enough electricity with the 1.875 to make it worth it. So as such, they're only going to do the 5 megawatt, and they will center that within the area of the original, essentially 6.7 megawatts. And what that means is there'll be fewer trees taken down. The same number of mature trees that were planted in the middle of the golf course are coming down. And for each of those they will be donating to the tree bank. So I think there's 51 of those. That doesn't change. But the trees at the perimeter, because now the site is, I'll call it narrower from north to south, they don't have to clear as many trees to prevent the shade. So
Great.
And then part of the reason this has taken so long is to get there, they needed an easement from the Masonic Hall, and that took a long time to get. The good news is they finally got it, and that's doubly good news for us because not only do we get another 5 megawatt solar array, but this one also under the incentive zoning, they were putting $150,000 towards the band shell. And so that will enable us to build the bathrooms and stage on the back of the band shell. So
Great.
any other questions, comments? Hearing and seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Barley,
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford.
Aye.
Councilmember Safranik,
Aye.
Councilmember Owens,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye.
Mr. Supervisor, fellow town board members, I have Resolution 10-200, 2026 to purchase a new kit building and installation for the kitchen expansion for the senior center.
Second. So this is we're doing 2 expansions of the senior center. One is to the north, that's new kitchen and storage space. And then one is to the west, that's new dining area as well as new restrooms. The senior center is a kit building, which basically, just as the name implies, the building comes as a kit and it gets assembled. Think of Lincoln Logs. And so this is on the Sourcewell contract, and through Landscape Structures. So for both material and installation. And then once it's built and assembled, the town crews will do the interior walls. We didn't bother adding that to here. So very excited to get this started. We are also in the process of getting a new electrical service there because with the additional HVAC equipment, the additional lighting, additional kitchen equipment, they're going to add a second steam table, I believe it is, and another oven or 2, possibly another dishwasher. We are going to have to upgrade the electrical. So the nice thing about that is that electrical will be coming into this portion of the building. We can leave the existing electricity where it is, get this in place, get it updated, and then connect the existing panels from this panel we'll get rid of all the daisy chaining that's currently there. It's going to be a great addition. So I would like to note that this is being funded through the ARPA funds. We received $515,541 in ARPA funds through Monroe County, thanks to the effort of the county legislators who represent Henrietta and other towns, and Mike Udelson and no, this was before that. No, it's next door in
Mills.
Mills.
no. He's in Pittsburgh.
Oh,
God,
I know.
I'm so bad with names. Howard.
Howard, that's it.
Howard Bakucci.
Yeah.
So it was Howard and Mike were two of the leaders, and pretty much all the county legislators who represent the towns supported that effort. So
The very needed expansion. Thank
Yep.
you for that grant money needed.
They do a great job over there. I was over there, I don't know, last week, week before.
Yeah.
They do a
And I hear from the Office of Aging and others, and maybe I'm not supposed to say this because like parents are not supposed to play favorites, but I hear from a lot of people who comment that they've been to a lot of senior centers and Henrietta's is the best. So huge shout out to our staff and the work that
Yes.
they do. Any other questions, comments? Hearing and seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Barley,
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford.
Aye.
Councilmember Safranik,
Aye.
Councilmember Owens,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye. Fellow board members, I have resolution 10-201, 2026 to call for a public hearing on a proposed local law to amend chapter 224 of the Henrietta Town Code to update regulations pertaining to electronic reader board signs.
Second.
So the way this reads, it updates the old reader signs had some things in there that were frankly out of date. Like for instance, that the reader boards had to be shut off. They couldn't be on more than a half an hour outside of business hours. Well, we don't do that for our reader boards.
Right.
Nobody does that for any of the reader boards. So that was it was an outdated thing. The other thing is we had a 1 hour dwell time, which was ridiculously long. So this goes to, what we're going to do is, as you'll see, it basically, under the law, it says that it's the amount of time is set per their license, but at no instance can it be less than 10 seconds. That's the dwell time for transition from one message to the other. New York State, it's 6 seconds, but a lot of folks believe 10 seconds is a better number. You don't want to change them too rapidly because that can be too distracting for drivers. There can be no animations, fade outs, fade ins, that kind of stuff. For those transitions, they just have to be instantaneous transitions. So again, the purpose of that is to avoid driver distraction. So what we are planning to do is, for the way we look at it, if they change rapidly, it creates, for lack of a better way to put it, it creates a bigger burden on the town. And what I mean by that, we're going to get complaints for people when the signs change. And the way I look at it is if we collect a higher fee for that, they're making more revenue because they can have as many as, 6 different signs, however many they want. But the point is, it's changing every 10 seconds. Then they can basically have multiple messages on their signs and switch back and forth, especially if it's a billboard. And so the nice thing about this is not actually part of zoning. So this will apply for the signs going up in the Genesee Valley Regional Market. They're immune to zoning, but they're not immune to the sign code. So, and basically what we're looking at, it's probably going to be about double for the to go from, so the normal current fees are for 1 minute. And if they want to go to the 10 seconds, there'll be a fee. Now, one of the things we'll have to do, Kevin Wilson and I are going to get together next week to put together what that fee schedule is. So we'll have that ready for the next meeting. Because at the same time, we do the update to the zoning or to the code, we'll want to adopt the updated fee schedule. So
Okay.
we'll put that forward and get, obviously have a chance for the town board to review it, but that's what we're looking at.
So is there any size limit on these signs?
They're not on this. There is not currently. I will say well, let me rephrase that. Not in this section. This is the section of additional requirements for reader boards. The issue I have with our current sign codes is the stuff isn't all in one place.
Right.
And what I mean by that, you've got to go, okay, so I have to go over here for height restrictions, and I have to go here for size restrictions, and I have to go here for what we are in the process, and it's, I will admit, it's a back burner thing. I'm probably about 60% of the way through, is we're reorganizing it so that it's organized by the type of sign. So now if I have a front marquee sign for a business, all of the requirements for that sign are all in one place. If I have a billboard, all of the requirements for that sign are in one place. So I don't know what the limits are on those sizes. There are limitations on the sizes. It's a different portion of the sign code today. That's my issue. Is like I said, it's not all
But
together.
when they're reader boards too, they're kind of, a little bit different than a billboard, I was just wondering how big a signs the market's going to be able to put up that are changing all the time.
Right. I don't remember what that dimension is, but we've got them. It's not the largest sign. There's two sizes larger. There's some industry standard sizes. I think there's 4 different sizes. It's the second. It's not the smallest. It's the next one up. It's not. There's 2 billboards bigger. But like I said, that's a different section of code. I don't know what that number is.
Well, we've come a long way, baby. There was a time in the zoning board we didn't like any flashing signs. Kim changed it for 24 hours.
Yeah.
Look if you got one.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's what's it?
We're gonna get a lot of flack on the.
We'll find out.
Well, we can't
But
on the market ones.
Yeah, I know.
Once again.
And the other place. So at some point we're going to take a look at that. The other place that to me it makes sense to potentially do to authorize billboards. Right now, billboards they're not allowed in town. Now I won't also say I don't think they're actually expressly forbidden. I think they're just not mentioned. And so we do have 2 billboards in town. They are right next to each other. They're on Methodist Hill as you're coming northbound over the hill. But they are static signs currently. They're not reader boards. As Mike mentions, the Genesee Valley Regional Market is putting in 2 reader signs. From a zoning standpoint, they're outside our zoning, so it doesn't matter that it's not an allowed use in any of our zoning districts. They can do it. The one place we will be considering in the future is properties along 390. That would also, they would have to get approval from the New York State DOT. However, New York State DOT does allow it as long as it is through a zone that has been industrial or commercial. I think it's since like 1952 or some year around that. For us, that basically means pretty much from the Highland Road exit north up to the town line. And so one of the things we were talking about is you have that industrial zone north of Jefferson Road. Could they have them there? And again, we're not looking at this now, but that's, once our code update is done, that's something we should take a look at. They would be facing the interstate, not facing the town per se. I don't know whether we'll want to do it, but it's something to take a look at. I will note that the way these are typically handled is they're essentially considered an improvement in the property, so they are assessed value, and they do pay property taxes on them, in addition to the sign permit. So, but like I said, I don't know. I'm just mentioning that because that, you know, we were talking about where billboards are allowed, but right now, again, we only have the two billboards. There's the big one, and then there's the kind of right next to it is a smaller one. Sometimes the signs are related, sometimes they're different. And there's no minimum dwell time there because you actually have to physically change it. So, any other questions? Hearing and seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Barley,
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford,
Aye.
Councilmember Safranek,
Aye.
Councilmember Owens,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye.
Fellow board members, I have resolution 10-202-2026 to call for a public hearing for proposed local law to update the provision therein to conform with the New York State Uniform Fire Prevention Building Code.
Second.
So if you'll recall, a number of years ago, we instituted or we adopted the New York Stretch Energy Code. The 2025 energy codes exceed the stretch codes. Those are the ones that are now in effect, not the former stretch codes. So we're just updating our code section to make that clear. Any questions, comments? I will thank Dan for putting together the local laws for both of these. Hearing and seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Barley,
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford,
Aye.
Councilmember Safranek,
Aye.
Councilmember Owens,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye.
Mr. Supervisor and fellow board members, I have resolution 10-203-2026 to declare intent to be the lead agency for the coordinated seeker review for the cluster subdivision and associated open space for the Lehigh Station Road cluster development.
Second.
So this is a residential parcel. It's west of the gentleman who was here, a number of properties west, but it is currently residential and they want to do a cluster development on it. It's 89 acres. A good chunk of it, probably half or more, is wetlands. So none of that counts towards their unit count.
Gotcha.
These will be, if I remember correctly, it was townhomes. These are mid-tier. They're not that. So to the west of this are the ones that we did where we approved and gave them greater density to build the smaller entry-level ones.
Mhm.
These are larger. Yeah, I don't know. They're more upscale. I don't know if I would call them fully upscale. We'll call them upper middle class. Okay. But you know, so yeah, well, all houses are really expensive.
Really expensive.
I think that the old Preforts we built as a kid could sell for 100,000 these days.
They affected the penny.
Any other questions, comments? Hearing and seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Barley,
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford,
Aye.
Councilmember Safranek,
Aye.
Councilmember Owens,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye.
Mr. Supervisor and fellow board members, I have resolution 10-204-2026 to adopt the updated West Henrietta Historic District property list.
Second.
So we're just fixing in there when I was putting the table together. There was a little bit of confusion because like there's one property that has a single tax ID but has two street addresses. And oh, by the way, right next door, there's another property that has a tax ID and no street address. So we kind of thought, oh, well, it's 1 to 1, but no, it's not. It's 2 to 1 and 0 to 1 on the other side. So we're just fixing those. Any other questions, comments? Hearing and seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Barley,
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford,
Aye.
Councilmember Safranek,
Aye.
Councilmember Owens,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye.
Mr. Supervisor, fellow town board members, I have resolution 10-205, 2026 to award the Tinker Park Playground bid to Bears Playground.
Second. So, we got 4 bid responses. The low bid meeting specifications was from Bear Playgrounds. Base bid was $71K. There were a couple ad alternates that we did decide upon. There was an inverted rock wall, which would make for a bit harder climb for kids who love to do that kind of thing. And then there was a tree hugger one, which is kind of neat. It was a bunch of different size posts. That would be a good one for kids who aren't as good at climbing the rock wall. So we just thought it was a good mix, and those are being added to. So there'll be 10 different climbers on this thing. And then we just went with they have a swing, these mats that help prevent the scoop out that happens with wood chips, because this is going to be a mulch playground. We went with the mats to try to keep them from scooping out. They had an ad alternate for a rubberized pellet, but we don't want the rubberized, especially since this is going to be a tinker. The wood chips makes a lot more sense. And then we just had contingency of 2,000 in case we find that there's wood chips, additional wood chips needed, or just in case as we're putting it together, we decide to do some infield modifications. So total bid is just under $76,000. So any questions?
The other bids were quite a bit more, right?
They were.
And they're doing the install. Do they have to pay prevailing wage on this, right?
Yeah, the cost has more to do a couple things. With it being the wood, it is less expensive. They're also local, so there were no delivery charges where most of the other ones were coming from out of state.
Okay.
So that played a big part in it. So like I said, it was more the material cost than the labor.
Okay.
Any other questions, comments? Hearing and seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Barley,
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford,
Aye.
Councilmember Safranek,
Aye.
Councilmember Owens,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye. Fellow board members, I have resolution 10-206, 2026 to award the permitting code and plan review software bid to ICC Community Development Solutions Incorporated, or LLC, excuse me.
Second.
So we went out to bid. Like the bid for the playground, there was a very wide range of responses. And the winning bid basically had a first year at 44.5. And then we did have a DocuWare integration add-on. That way it puts all our stuff in DocuWare, which is what we use for archiving. So we'll get that going hopefully fairly soon. We decided not to do the data migration, and the reason is we still have the old software is still being used for other departments. So we can actually just keep the stuff in there if we have to go back from an archive standpoint. We didn't see a real need to transfer it all over, especially because that wasn't a cheap an inexpensive proposition. So it just makes more sense. We'll just start moving all the new, putting all the new stuff in here. And then if there's something that comes up for renew, then we would copy it over. But there's no reason to pay the high expense to transfer it all over. Any questions, comments? Hearing and seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Barley,
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford,
Aye.
Councilmember Safranek,
Aye.
Councilmember Owens,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz and fellow board members, I have resolution 10-207, 2026 to authorize the tax cemetery settlement for Barbary Cove LLC and Tom Thomas for 70 parcels on the attached list.
Second.
So this one's very frustrating to me because I don't at all agree with the judge's ruling. He was only looking at real property tax law. He was not looking at zoning and essentially home rule. This particular property, the Tom Thomas came in, sold this proposal. He was going to build 70 homes. They were going to be for sale. He built them, never sold them, rented them. Now he's trying to say he should be taxed as a apartment complex. No, as an apartment complex. That's one of the issues I also have with our current real property tax laws. Why someone who's making business off of 70 homes pays less taxes than 70 individuals who actually own the homes.
Right.
I don't get that.
Yeah.
It's part of real property tax law. It's very frustrating. And again, I don't understand how the judge could look. This is now a mixed use development. It's not allowed in that zoning district.
Right.
So
I mean,
I just don't get it.
Is there any way we can go after them then? Hey, you're not allowed to have apartment complex here.
We tried that appeal. It did not fly. That's very frustrating.
My next question was, can we appeal that?
We
judge?
did.
Okay. Yeah, okay. That's
Did I-
that's the Supreme
So
Court.
he'll be kept on the.
That's why this is so old.
Right.
If you'll know, it started in 2022. This has been going on for a long time.
Did I hear in the workshop, you said something about individually they would have to register as a rental?
They still have to, yes, they currently are on a rental registry. They still have to do that. It's just frustrating that, like I said, I don't get it. Real property tax law needs to be fixed. This is just one of those things. Any other questions, comments? It is, normally we say in these, they don't include refunds. This one does. It's not a huge impact on the town, but it is a big impact on the school.
Yeah.
But it's unfortunate. Like I said, we fought this one tooth and nail, but I just don't get the courts. I don't get the judge. So, any other questions or comments?
Who was the judge? Do we know?
I don't know that answer off the top of my head.
Rosanna.
Okay, thank you.
Where's it out of? Where's? Where did they?
Which court?
Supreme Court. Okay. Okay.
All right. Hearing and seeing nothing further, please call the roll.
Councilmember Barley,
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford,
Aye.
Councilmember Safranek,
Aye.
Councilmember Owens,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye.
Mr. Supervisor and fellow board members, I have resolution 10-208, 2026 to acknowledge receipt of the April 2026 revenue and expense reports.
Second.
Any questions or comments? Hearing and seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Barley,
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford,
Aye.
Councilmember Safranek,
Aye.
Councilmember Owens,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye.
Mr. Supervisor and fellow board members, I have resolution 10-209/2026 to hire personnel and make the attached changes.
Second.
Any questions or comments? Hearing and seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Barley,
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford,
Aye.
Councilmember Safranek,
Aye.
Councilmember Owens,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye.
Mr. Supervisor, fellow town board members, I have resolution 10-210/2026 to adopt local law number 6 of 2026 to allow a neighborhood upgrade incentive zoning.
Second. We had an earlier discussion on this. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Barley,
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford,
Aye.
Councilmember Safranek,
Aye.
Councilmember Owens,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye. Fellow board members, I have final resolution 10-211/2026 to adopt local law number 7 of 2026 to update zoning codes to add missing verbiage for additional uses in Brooks Road rural residential lands.
Second.
So again, we had the public hearing on this. Is there any further comment or question? Hearing and seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Barley,
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford,
Aye.
Councilmember Safranek,
Aye.
Councilmember Owens,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye. Do we have any, okay. Do we have any, committee or miscellaneous reports from the board?
Go ahead. So I did, liaison to the, school board. And they presented last month about, some of the new courses they're providing for the students, some streamlining with some, special education things that are going on. And several updates that I thought were interesting, and it was great to hear some of the, work they were doing to really focus on students and really improving opportunities for their students. Also, last night was the school board election, and results were the budget did pass 1,372 to 1,178. The diesel buses were also approved with a wider margin, and Laura Barat and Shiloh Arthman were both reelected for a 3-year term to the school board.
Congratulations to both Shiloh and Laura for on winning their reelection bid.
Congratulations to both.
Yeah.
I'd like to congratulate.
Congratulations, and it's exciting. I'm looking forward to seeing what more they're doing. They're making an effort to really focus on our students and be still fiscally responsible. Oh, I should also say, we finally met for the first time for the sustainability committee. It was 2 weeks on a Friday, Zoom. There's a couple really good ideas being proposed, and the committee is looking at different information about how they can move forward. I think some grants, I think Craig probably has a better update than I do, and I think I do have an assignment to look up on some things to benefit our community members about. I think there's like national programs where they where you can actually make your lawns like certified like sustainability or like bee friendly lawns and everything. So I got some background. I think the Cornell Cooperative Extension actually does some work with that, which I'll have to follow up and do more.
We actually started that a while ago and it kind of fell off with other stuff, but I actually have a local law started to address that. One of the things, the biggest issue we run into with that is people then don't take care of their lawn and say, it's a natural lawn.
Yeah, yeah.
And no, it's a mess. And so one of the things we talked about to address that is that we would require them prior to going there to get an approval from the Conservation Board. One of the things that we have to look into, and I gotta talk to Dan about that, is right now, the Conservation Board is primarily advisory to the Planning Board, whether they could make that determination or whether they would have to stay advisory and be the Planning Board that makes that determination. But the idea is that we would have them, someone would submit a garden plan, that's what we called it. And then if that's approved, then they could switch.
And I think some of these programs that I was looking into were about like getting like approval from different other entities would be included in that garden plan that I think makes sense. I don't want to see lawns going, to crap or anything. I think there's some opportunity for allowing, not using so many pesticides, which are bad for animals and dogs and children. So allowing kind of incentives to kind of have lawns that are sustainable, but also not looking like they're crap.
Would this also apply to like the wild nature yards that they have with all the different stuff for birds and butterflies?
Yes. Yeah, right now that's, the thing is that's only allowed in the backyard and it's a portion of the yard and this type of stuff. The idea is they wanted to expand that even in the backyard to allow closer to the house. Some wanted some in the front yard. Like I said, that's where we really start to get into this issue. We'd want that approved plan.
Makes sense.
And my full disclosure, my neighbor has let part of his lawn go wild, but he's very intentional in the way he does it. And there's like nice pathways back there. He's asked the neighbors, and so part of my lawn is actually part of his plan, but I think he was one of the individuals on that committee that wanted to expand that. And they worked on that a couple of years ago, but we're following up and seeing if we can come to, some strategy on how we can do that to encourage kind of that sustainable background. But
yeah, so just as one of our local leaders of the Bhutanese community reminded me that this month is Asian American, Native Hawaiian, Pacific Islander month. And just want to recognize those communities that live here in Henrietta. And we do have a large Bhutanese, Nepali, South Indian community that lives here. They will be performing a couple of dances tomorrow at the county office building from 4 p.m. to 5 p.m. Also, the diversity committee held a really great community conversation on Monday regarding public safety. The sheriff's office was present. We had significant attendance and just a really great conversation, I think, overall on public safety. And just a reminder, we have a couple of big events coming up. June 6th is RH Kicking Hunger 5K. It's going to be 7 o'clock for check-in, and some of the roads will be closed, so just something to be aware of. Henrietta Pride is scheduled for Monday, June 15th, and Juneteenth is planned for Friday, June 19th. The library had a great presentation on the Seed Library, and we're also present at the Henrietta Garden Club's plant sale. So that is like one of my favorite days of the year to go up to the plant sale, and it was great to see the Seed Library present. They have more than doubled their seed library usage in the first half of this year from the entirety of last year. So people are really appreciating that. And I just wanted to read a real quick positive note that was left for the library earlier in the month. This person says, I started coming to the Henrietta Library for printing access. I took delight in walking through the art displays they always have up from community members. Now I have found myself becoming a regular at adult events. Jim, the adult event coordinator, does an outstanding job in organizing a wide variety of interesting adult activities that are free to the public. I've seen opera, danced, learned local history, and made new friends at the library just in a few months' time. The book and media collection is outstanding as well, with access to the entire county's resources. An item from any library in the system can be sent to Henrietta for easy pickup. Libby is another great tool and has replaced my Audible, which was too expensive anyway. I'm very grateful to all the librarians and those that make this place flourish. The vibe is welcoming, inclusive, and diverse. The energy is of intellectual freedom, opportunity, and expansion. Oh, and I've utilized the VIP pass for a free tour of Mount Hope. You can check out the Empire Pass for free entry to state parks. I love my local library.
That's great. Thanks.
Yeah. Also, I just want to say that I was able to attend the diversity committee meeting, and I thought it was a wonderful meeting. I think the diversity committee did a fabulous job of like facilitating conversations, kind of keeping in check, but making sure that people were heard. I thought it was a really good conversation, and I just want to thank the diversity committee and Millie. I know she's involved in that, and they did an amazing job.
Well, I came right from out of town to this meeting, so I don't have my notes with me. I did have a couple of things, but I don't have the details on them. I do know that, the fire district is concerned about losing significant amounts of revenue on certain projects. I'll follow up in 3 weeks with the.
Couple of things. On June 8th, there will be a blood drive at the public library in honor of my father. 1 o'clock to 6. If you can, come on out. I'll be there at 1. I know we have a town board meeting workshop that day also. And then also in June, the Juneteenth celebration will be held. Come on out. It's usually a good time.
I just want to make a note that we're currently pausing paving. Just for the reason that the cost of asphalt is really expensive right now, thanks to the war in Iran and the Strait of Hormuz. So we're working on other stuff getting done, and then hopefully we try to clear all that stuff out so that hopefully when the asphalt prices come back down, we'll be able to pick paving into high gear and get it all done. So.
Wow, that's problematic.
Yeah.
Do we have anything from the public? Additional comment? Gary, Craig, nothing? All right. Then can I get a motion to adjourn?
So moved. Second.
Oh.
That's hysterical. We got 2 motions and 2 seconds.
Ladies
So-
have it tonight.
So clearly there is no objection, so